choose a way that
For
works for you.
homework,
Huh?
even on homework.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, go ahead with the alignments. We pretty much talked about that. Do y'all have any questions about looking at alignments with y'all's math and science? We've asked math people like Lickert to do that, and it's not as much of a problem until you get to be about fifth grade. But there probably are some at lower grade levels that we just haven't identified, but that's where your teacher conversation should come in.
We've touched on the confusing words, but we haven't gone into it a great deal, and I actually got up at 3, or 2:30, so I could leave my house at 4. And so Sandra knows that once I've hit this wall, I'm dead and I get it.
Her
So
brain has stopped working.
it has quit, so
I have to do the rest of
she
this.
does.
Let's see if there's anything mathy though that we wanna ask,
Anything math.
that we wanna ask Brownie while she's here.
Well, I do want you to go into the confusing words, I just can't think of that right now.
Well, we're gonna give you some samples a little bit later on that I think will make it better, but the idea of reducing fractions is the common example, you know, that we use. And there's probably more of a problem with the science teachers misusing words than there is math teachers. It's interesting because the math teachers are scared to death of science, but science teachers are not afraid of math.
But that's just because they think they know math. But they only know tricks, they don't really know it conceptually, so they think they know it, but they don't, but the
In their
math
minds,
teachers,
they do.
Love
they
the
know
collaboration.
this.
I just get the biggest kick out of teachers.
It's the
They
truth.
just know the tricks.
Exactly, and those are awful. You know, I've been in a Lockhart teacher's classroom 2 years ago, and she had just taught division of fractions, okay? And in their book, it was keep, change, flip, or something like that. And so that's what the kids had to memorize to do. So the kids were inverting that second one and they were multiplying, and they were working with it great. And then the book threw in some multiplication problems that were not division, and guess what the kids did? They inverted that second fraction and multiplied it. I was like, you cannot teach them this trick because they don't understand conceptually what they're doing. If we have 1/2 divided by 2/3, they want to know how much of 2/3 is actually in 1/2. They have to understand that that's what that question is asking. Is that going to be more than 1 or less than 1? Is there more than 1 2/3 in 1/2, or is there less than a 2/3 in 1/2? Picture it in your head, you got a pizza, okay? I have 2/3 of a pizza and she has 1/2 of a pizza. All right, and I'm dividing. So is more than 1 of my 2/3 in her 1/2, or is less than my 2/3 in her 1/2?
There is more than 2/3 in her half.
So my 2/3 will go into 1/2 more than one time.
Yes.
Sure.
No. Her 2/3.
Will not go.
Oh,
not
not
going to
2/3,
half.
no, I'm thinking
Yeah.
1/3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1/3, yes.
Yes.
So see how you had to think
I
that
need
even
pizza.
as an adult?
I was
I
gonna say
drank.
mine, I had my
Go to the
pizza
board.
here.
Manipulative, so
Right.
I have manipulative on.
Well, we
She's
did
still at the
manipulatives
concrete.
with
She's still at the
teachers.
concrete.
Do you
Just
want
like
to?
when Faith was here, she said, I'm still freaked about your manipulatives with pattern blocks and fractions. That's what we did, manipulatives.
But for
and
that,
numbers.
I would need a concrete for sure.
Yes.
Of course,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
you just memorized. You don't have a conceptual. Yeah. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
That's why Faith goes into.
She woke up for a minute.
Notice how she woke up with it heavy, didn't do it.
She can do fractions, I watched her do it in the workshop. It was party punch, I think.
No, it was
So
It's
it's
something
something
I
I
was
were
developed.
Party punch.
Party punch, what is that?
That's an activity with Cuisinart rods.
It's a math
That's
one.
the first activity I did this year.
It was my baptism in the math manipulative.
I love about it all the time. Are you gonna do party punch this time?
Finally Sarah was like,
No.
I'm not doing party punch.
Well, actually, I'm in physical therapy, and I took my physical therapist, we had lots of conversation, and I took the physical therapist a set of Cuisinart rods Monday, and the party punch handout for him to go home and do it with his kids. it's another story, but anyway, it's, oh, sorry, in your room here, in your space. All right, so what I've given to you is what we're calling the meta-analysis. And that's the one we were talking about earlier about enhanced materials. So see down at the bottom? So modified instructional materials, that's where teachers taking somebody else's lesson and making it their own by making some modifications. And it is in the top 8 strategies of a meta-analysis of improved student performance. So these are the things that will help students learn more. Do you use enhanced context? If you look at a lot of them, it's up there what's known. You know, Browning's gotta go home because she's got a hurricane coming in to her area.
Tropical storms.
Oh, excuse me, tropical storm coming
Do you
in.
live on the coast?
I live in League City, I'm 20 miles from Galveston.
I know exactly where I'm.
My son lives
You'll
in
be in
there.
you'll be in our thoughts.
Thank you. I've got to get home before it really hits. My nurse just texted me, you know, I have a handicapped grandchild who has a nurse at home, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So he just texted me and said, not reading yet, so I'm good.
Okay. Well, be safe.
But I have put the schedule so that she is gonna be ready to roar out of here so she can get home in time for that. Okay, so let's look at these meta-analysis. So what you will notice is enhanced context, so a real world, unknown, okay? Collaborative learning, not just cooperative learning, but just kinds of collaborative learning. Questioning strategies, inquiry, manipulation, testing strategies, and that's not talking about summative, you know, multiple choice kind of thing. They're talking about a lot of different ways of assessing student understanding. Instructional technology, and it's pretty much used by the student. And then the last one is enhanced enhanced material. All of these have a statistically significant impact on student learning. When we come into your teacher's classroom, and I need to get a copy of that, Denise, would you write that down, please? The copy of the observation instrument, the first part of it looks exactly like this. And that's where we get it from. Now, you'll notice down at the bottom it says direct instruction studies did not fit the criteria. However, there's evidence that direct instruction is effective for teaching skills or processes rather than most concepts. And then I explain its effect size and meta-analysis for people who don't know what that is. Do y'all have any mathy questions for Brownie?
Can you answer my division question?
What you're.
What about the 1/3 and the?
1/2 divided by 2/3, and don't you dare flip it and multiply.
But that's what I know.
You want pattern blocks back there? We can do it with pattern blocks.
And you probably can get the answer, but can you explain it?
Do it.
Just real quickly with pattern blocks, only need two groups. Don't freak out.
That's something that I wrote down.
I have no idea what it is. Well, that's what. I'm just looking at this one. Yeah, true. There's wording.
Can you say it again? 1/2 divided by 2/3 is the problem that we're going to solve with pattern blocks. So we're going to use the hexagon as the whole. Okay, the hexagon is one. Okay. One whole. Okay. So the hexagon is one whole. If the hexagon is one whole, what is 1/2? Trapezoid. Good. So you need a trapezoid. If the hexagon is one whole, what is 1/3?
This little triangle. Oh, triangle.
That's
1/3.
1/3.
You're
One
telling me.
1/3 of the whole. The whole is the
Of the
hexagon.
whole?
Of the whole.
Oh.
The diamond? There are no diamonds in that.
I mean,
pattern.
parallelogram.
Diamonds are in your hands.
I see you. Yep. It's not a diamond. It's over your head.
There are no diamonds in mathematics.
This is a third?
Well, put 3 on there and see if they fit.
There you go. which is bigger, 2/3 or 1/2?
Okay, so does everybody have your 1/2 modeled? Is your 1/2?
There's your halves. Put it right on top of your halves. Okay, if it's thirds, how many do you have to have? 3. There you go. So put the 3 on top.
Excuse me, if you know the answer,
Oh,
you're only
sorry.
supposed to be asking a question.
Thank you. I didn't know if I should get it or what.
No, you should have.
Okay, so, now let's stay together so we can all do this at one time. So the 1/2 is 1 trapezoid, correct?
Correct.
So get your 1 trapezoid in front of you so you know what you're dealing with. Move the other things to the side for a moment. So we want 2/3. So what would be 2/3?
2 parallelograms.
2 parallelograms. So we're dealing with a trapezoid and 2 parallelograms. That's what we're dealing with, okay? You can move everything else kind of to the side, but keep them handy so you can see them. So the question was, I have 1/2 divided by 2/3. That was the question. What that really means is, since 2/3 will not go into 1/2, how much of 2/3 is in 1/2? How much of that 2/3 is in 1/2? Can you see how you have your stack? That's perfect to help you figure that out.
I know, I just don't know what to call it.
1/3 and some
3/6.
little bit left over. Oh, a half, a fourth.
A 4.
No.
No.
How much of that 2/3 is in that 1/2?
Almost all.
Almost all?
I just have a triangle.
1/3.
1/5. No.
Y'all are guessing. How did you figure this out?
Can you
convert
those
triangles? Can you convert those to the like figure, those shapes?
3/4. You were right.
How do you?
So, 4.
Because there would be 4 triangles, but only 3 of them are there, so.
I didn't do the triangle.
So how much of this is here?
Don't give it.
Out of?
4. Get it, but I don't
So
give it.
what's the answer?
What would happen if you
3/4.
put all of the
Does it not
triangles
make
on
sense to
top?
you?
Finally took me all these years to figure out.
6.
I could divide fractions. I don't know what it meant.
I know. 3 out of the 4.
Yes.
3 of them. These out of 4 of these will fit here.
Right.
You want to cover? Did you get it, Lori?
Yes, well, I get it, but I don't get it.
Okay.
So talk to us.
I don't even know. Because I didn't hear what they said the answer was for sure.
That's okay.
Just start talking. We want to know how
That
much
is
of these, this blue is in that red. And if you convert them both to triangles,
Yes.
That'd be 3/4. That makes sense. You can convert them all into triangles, because this still threw me off.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Perfect. See, this is not hard at all.
I tell the college geometry twice. And if I can find the professor, it's fine. But then I moved to Switzerland, I didn't have to have it.
Yeah.
You just had to take a remedy.
If you had had it this way though,
Probably.
And
Yeah.
I teach
So when they talk
online
about,
university as
so
well.
what does it mean
And
to
just
you
particular
when
semester,
they're talking
I
about
have
reducing
some that are going to
fractions?
become math specialists.
Just making them smaller.
If they have told me
Okay,
once it's
so what does it
times
mean
four,
when
it's
they
easy.
say
Just gotta
convert
change
this
it
or
up. I said,
convert
"Well,
the
what does that
fractions
mean?"
so that you have the
But then it's
same
on
for the
how
common
big it
denominator?
is. They can't tell me.
Some kind of-
So I want to say, let me come to your house, I know
What if
you're
what
in
you just
Maine,
did?
but let me come to your house.
It is.
Show you with
It's just, but my mind
With
isn't
your
thinking.
rods, everything.
Because that's not how I was taught, so my mind doesn't go to that, it just goes to, oh my gosh, it's a math problem, I'm gonna feel stupid because I don't know if I can
And
figure
they
it out.
make, there's
So what are you gonna do with your office now when you have,
but they're different
math
colors,
and you have
so you
kids
can
coming
take
in
a
and wanting
half,
to do math?
you
What are you
could
gonna
do
have there?
3/4,
Something and
And
then.
where they just say,
overlap,
Yes,
they
and
make
then-
different
and
colors.
what are we about, like,
So
today?
yellow lots of blue, so
Actually,
they overlap,
I think you're
helps
gonna
you
get
to
one.
have it
I
with,
think you get one.
yeah,
That's kind of
it's
what
two,
you get.
with like 100 grid too, where they overlap, like if you had 0.32 times.
I've always changed my fractions.
You give me 32
Right, that'd be hot.
Yes.
Not be afraid.
Not
Yeah,
point.
not be afraid.
Yeah.
Please, I would say, yes. Well, I have to go do history, I can go do.
How long does it take for you to build a process?
My
Yeah. We're just
question,
building
math
a process.
question was really,
Exactly, I'm struggling.
where do we start?
But like I tell them,
Do I have a
like,
lot of teachers?
if they'll
who
send out
are-
like math, I was like, I don't like math either, but let's work together and figure it out.
Okay,
So what if you have some of those in your office?
But they're lower grade
And when
teachers,
they're
and that's
coming
where
in,
the misconception is.
I think we've talked about that with manipulatives, we don't train our teachers well
But we
enough
figured this
K
out.
through
You
even
do it.
3, 2.
I think you
K
say
through
use
12.
manipulatives.
So you
Like,
need
but
to
that's
get
it.
somebody in
Yeah,
there
they
to,
don't use the how.
to train them.
So like the way you did the coaching, the way we did that lesson earlier, yeah, I can see where even there's kind of misconceptions of what a direct teaches, or, cause I'm not direct teaching, I'm teaching the whole time, but they do a direct teach for concepts and then they let the kids go off and do some hands-on, but they didn't do the hands-on as the inquiry to
It should be
learning.
reversed.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so even understanding that and how we use questioning, I just feel a little bit overwhelmed of where to start with them.
You need to get somebody in there to train them, and the questioning is a big deal. I work on questioning every summer with the teachers, and that will be one of the first things I do next week. But you need to get somebody in there to train, and it's gotta be early in the year, and it's gotta be specific on the concepts that they're covering that 9 weeks, so that it's practical to them right then, and then sustained throughout the year. And I do come back and can do that. I just can't come back very often, because I do have that handicapped child, and it's very difficult to get night nursing. Because I had to have a night nurse last night to get here on time today, you see, so.
But if you worked with the school and district, one of the first things you would do would be,
I would get those K through 2, not higher up, K through 2 teachers together and do some training, regularly. And on the concepts that they're teaching that quarter,
okay.
so that they see the immediate value of it. Not something they're gonna be teaching in May.
Right.
Patricia, think about, probably the most important thing they need is the best practices. And it's those, if you do that black sheet first with them, maybe spend, I don't know what kind of timing you have before school starts, but maybe have that as part of your common language. That everybody goes through, these are the best practices, and that's what you build on.
But I don't think it'll go into their heads until they actually touch.
And go through it the way we did it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, that's what, you don't just present that, you
And then let me show you the concrete. Here's a
exactly.
concrete example.
First of all, you're gonna say that the 3 STEM lesson planning principles are these, they're best practices. Then you're gonna do a concrete pictorial abstract activity. You can copy the ones we did today, that's why
You can.
we're doing it. Then you talk about known to the unknown. But you do concrete pictorial abstract with the known
And
to the
over
unknown.
and over
And
again.
then you do the one concept per lesson. So we're gonna learn, I don't know, what concept you wanna learn. You do that, but you always do concrete pictorial abstract. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to get them to, like I could have gone around and said, okay, everybody say your name and what position you have.
And nobody would remember.
And nobody would remember. Do you remember the person that you had the activity, the listening activity with?
I
You
can even
remember their
spell
name?
Annalisa.
You can even spell Annalisa because we overheard her
And I
trying
wouldn't
to
in
tell
the room,
Lori.
I could just hear them
Right.
talking.
Right, so, what do you remember about the yes and? When someone comes to you and asks you a question or whatever, and then want to do something, like, my science teacher said, I just wanted to tell you, she didn't even ask me by this time, she said, I'm gonna be building fires today outside. Because we're studying combustion, and I just looked at her and I went, she's like, I just forgot to tell you, I just wanted you to know, we got it safe, I got all the rocks out there, I'm good to go, but I remembered last night as I was going to sleep, I forgot to tell you. I had her for years, so I trusted her implicitly. That's what you want. You want to say, yes, and who else did you tell? Have you got water? Have you got that kind of stuff, okay? That's what that story was supposed to be. You say yes, and if you, instead of saying no, if I needed Thea, to go potty, I need to do yes, and we have to get the Kleenex out of the commode first, okay? Rather than, you know, that kind of stuff. And then, what else did we talk about this morning?
The circle,
The circle.
that's a big
Yeah,
one.
that hit me.
That one's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you wanna impact your school culture immediately, that's where you show them, how critical that is. It's how you do discipline, it's how you guide the behavior, it's how you give feedback to teachers. It's how you want them to give feedback to you, it's how they treat parents, everything, so.
I think with that circle too, talking about like it's important for our staff to know our love languages. For me, it's important to know theirs, especially
Absolutely.
when thinking of the circle.
Absolutely.
Because for someone that doesn't regard words highly, then maybe they need me to show them through acts, right? Like through going in their classroom by taking a small group. Like that's how I'm gonna get to them. That's how I'm gonna build trust.
Okay, so what kind of activity do you do that's concrete, pictorial, abstract, that's teaching that piece, that's teaching that lesson of, this is my love language, or whatever it is? You see what I'm saying? So those basic principles fit with everything you're trying to support with learning. You can learn it, you can use it in counseling, you can learn it in feedback with your teachers, you can do it with teachers' lesson planning. Cause that's like your, there's three things, you can do that. So everything you do, Patricia, as you pull your faculty together, you do it that way every time, concrete, pictorial, abstract, doesn't matter what content you've got it in. Does that help? And then you show them, and you're saying, okay, we're doing best practices. Concrete, pictorial, abstract. So now how are you gonna do this in your classroom? Every single thing you do. And you do it a lot, to build the culture, you do it with the relationships first. The concrete stuff, the relationships, the listening.
And then you call me. I've got to go,
Okay.
so I enjoyed this with y'all, and look forward to seeing y'all sometime. I won't be here tomorrow. Sorry.
No.
I can only get a night nurse for last night, not for this night, so.
Okay.
Teaching areas. Actually, I found some videos. I was just while y'all were talking, looking, and it just said manipulative mathematics teacher training videos. So there's only about 10 of them, but at least it starts to give them ideas.
Yeah.
And so we'll look at those as well.
The online university that I teach for has some excellent videos, but they are proprietary, so I can't really get them out, but they really are really good. They're done by Karen Fusson. Y'all know Karen, F-U-S-O-N? She's a math guru. She's really, really good. So if you come across any of her work, it's good.
And one question I would ask if I were your principals of Faith and Ross and Mark would be, what staff development money do we have available to hire consultants?
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
My stuff. I'm just looking for the recycle bin.
Throw it in the
Throw it in
there,
It's
I'll get
okay?
it, I'll
Yeah.
put it back.
I didn't want to have a blank mark by my name.
Absolutely. What I was gonna tell you before Browning leaves is that, of course, she's gonna be back here next week with
Yeah.
the next 2 weeks for the teachers. And we strongly recommend you come at least one morning to be with your teachers. I cannot tell you how much they appreciate your coming.
What,
And-
is there a morning that's better than?
Right now, I don't know of a morning, the only time it would be a field trip. Now, I'll put a caveat in there that anytime we have a field trip, we pay, of course, for y'all. If you wanna bring your family, like when we go to Bracken Bat Cave or any of those other kind of things, we invite the teachers to bring their families, because it kind of builds some built-in conversations that occur and deepens their understanding and questions and so on. but they have to pay, everybody outside has to pay. So unless it's a field trip, that would probably not be a good day, but so far, I know at least the first 4 days are gonna be fine. If there's a particular day that you think you can come, and we're talking from 8 till about 11:30. In the afternoon, we're going to give them planning time, and for them to, report out, so we can look at best practices and content and pedagogy and that kind of.
So when you need to report out, do you mean, actually model teaching a lesson?
No, we don't mean that far, unless you think we should.
Well, I was just wondering, I think we should, because, Sandra got these from me, and this is what I hold up in my pre-service teachers' classes, when they're modeling teaching a lesson for the class, and as long as they're asking questions, everything is okay, but the minute Denise, they start telling, then, then the frowny face comes up. And of course, I'm in the back of the room, so the people can't see which one of these I'm holding up. Mine's actually blue, but I thought it was kind of cute that they did the green and the red, but keep going and stop. So I hold this up, and of course, the teacher in the front is, if it's a no, then they're turning red and they're embarrassed, and everybody knows that I'm in the back holding up the red. But I think they should model some lessons just so we can work on questioning. Because next week, I'm going to start with fractions and questioning, then go into algebra.
Is there room next week for our instructional coaches that they could make it?
We will try to squeeze them in. As you can tell, it's a lot of hands-on, and we don't have a very large room.
Yeah, we're not in this room.
Yeah, we're not in this room. Well, I'm not sure we could squeeze everybody in
I don't think so.
this room or not. But, yeah, tell them to come. I mean, we'll make it work somehow, and it is a good experience for them, and it will certainly build your team to have your coaches there with you.
So y'all have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Be
and
careful.
we'll see you. Thank you. I will. Bye-bye. And I'll let you know if it's flooding.
Okay, good.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk.
Yes, ma'am.
It is almost 3. We have not had a break. Don't you think we need to take a really quick break?
Ask them. I
Yes.
gotta
It would be nice just
fix my coffee.
Yes.
Anybody else want any coffee? I just unplugged it.
I need a soda.
Yeah.
Some caffeine.
Is it still out?
think
Well,
it's
they're
alive.
downstairs. Did you see any caffeine in those, that cooler, Dion?
Oh, well, go check. If not, I don't mind getting something out of the vending
Yes,
what do you
machine.
want?
I saw Cokes
will
in
go
there,
look.
Diet Cokes. I don't know.
I hate to tell you this, but the last research I read last week says that 1 soda a day links very strongly with Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's not good, 'cause, I could do coffee.
They also said that Diet Coke causes cancer in rats.
It does.
But do you know how much massive doses of that they get? A lot. Speaking to somebody who's diabetic, and so if I drink, I have to have it. If I drink a soda, it has to be diet.
I drink a lot of unsweet
You
tea.
know, after
I
I
love
had
unsweet
my
tea.
knee, I have 2 knees that I replaced. After I had my first knee replacement, I lost my taste for Diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
I
wow.
had one every day. I mean, I didn't go over the dog, but one every day, about this time of the day.
That's me, the Diet Coke every day.
And after that, I just lost the taste. And after the second knee replacement, I lost the taste for wine. Did you want to invite your instructional coach?
I don't know if she'll be able to, but I have a new science teacher. It's an 8th grade science teacher, that I think it might be really good for him.
one whole day is
Because he's gonna be working with Melissa.
right?
You know, even a few days is better than none. They're not gonna learn the content, but at least they'll.
So do you have like a schedule that you can email me? That I can send to him and just see if he can do it?
Well, it's pretty much gonna be the one you've already got, one is 26th through whatever the end of the week is, and then the next.
How did you send that? 'Cause that's like, she said that, Denise said she sent something.
Okay,
And I didn't get
it's next Monday, which is the 26th through the 30th,
Okay.
and then it's July the 3rd, skip the 4th, and then the 5th through the 8th. It gives us our 70 hours in the summer.
I'm gonna come Monday. That's like the only day I have.
But next Monday.
Yes, okay,
That's good.
alright,
I mean, just one day helps.
okay,
I mean, you just, I can't tell you how much your teachers get excited when you come.
okay.
You're just
Is
thrilled.
Jennifer doing some teaching? Is she helping or she's just coming?
No, she's one of our staff.
Oh, okay.
So she learns and she mentors and she teaches. In fact, she's gonna be teaching probably the second day, the 5th grade lesson on this material, this
What-
particles.
One time in the morning?
Yeah, 8 to 11:30ish.
I'm gonna look at my schedule and see if I can get one for Tuesday. I'm running out of Sunday days. Running out of time.
You had a lot of trouble this year.
I have.
This summer.
Are y'all off that week? Is that your off week?
Episode was really good. Yeah, the week of July 4th. But if I don't go anywhere,
No,
I
the
might.
week before. Next
No,
week.
Next week,
You're
we're
still
still
on.
working, yeah. I just have a lot of stuff already scheduled, so that's
Yeah.
why. TEPSO was really good. I'm glad I went.
TEPSA was good. Good.
I enjoyed it.
Is that where Strauss spoke about the Senate not funding education? Is that TEPSA?
I don't know. I don't know if I went
Or
to that
TAPSA?
one.
Index 3.
Wait, that's TAPSA.
Accountability. Oh, maybe we could.
What was
figure
good
it out.
about
There's an
TEPSA?
algorithm.
I just enjoyed all the sessions that I attended.
What are you taking back though? I mean, what are you taking back to your campus?
Your
Um,
PSP could tell you exactly how to do it.
Well, they're
I
gonna
don't-
have one, cause you
well,
just sent an email, missed it by
I
one.
went to a lot of stuff on independent reading.
Is that the index you all missed it
versus,
on to?
Everything focused around AR,
Mhm.
which I thought was absolutely fabulous, and so, they gave us, actually got 6 books for free, and there's one that they gave me that I wanna read, so I'm trying to do that, but that was one of the big things. There's a bunch of stuff on school climate and stuff that I thought was.
Which you'll find
Now,
was really good.
Denise, when are you gonna talk
I don't know
about
if you felt
the
like
school
this was
climate
fun.
surveys?
I felt like
When's that on
this
the
was like
agenda?
this.
Well, I think it's on tomorrow,
Okay.
but it actually was, yeah, it's our lunch discussion tomorrow. But we could, unless, like you're doing STEM
It is a lot.
and science right now, or are we?
Maybe come on, finish
That's what I thought. Okay. So then, I thought we could just go to, what was that? I think we're.
I would jump
What do you
right
think? That's what okay, let me ask you a quick question. One of the discussion questions I have on the agenda for tomorrow revolves around school climate and behavior issues. Is that something you would like to discuss right now versus during lunch tomorrow? Or, what else? I kinda need to know what you're taking away from today and what you are, I need to know where you are so that I know how to proceed for tomorrow. So let me rephrase that thing. Let's do it this way. At this point in time, I want you to give me some feedback and I want you to do it like this. I want you to either ask a question or make a suggestion from what we've experienced today and all that kind of stuff. So that's it. You either ask a question or make a suggestion. And everyone will respond at some point in time. You don't have to go in line.
I would like help on trying to find, some training for my teachers,
What kind of training?
for math and science.
For your teachers who are not in mix or both?
Yes,
Okay.
my teachers are not next.
What grade level?
I would like K through 5. So math would be my number 1 focus, and then, science would follow.
Well, let me tell you what we have offered before. We have offered for Browning to come in. She came into Navarro, I think it was January maybe, And we brought some teachers in, 4th and 5th grade teachers, because Lana kept asking for 4th grade. And, but we only had, about 7, I think, who came in. So we can bring, Browning in, I don't know if it's a Thursday, it may be a Friday, those are the only days she can come. And it'll be the Thursday or Friday before our PD Saturday session. We don't have those dates, but we will have them next week. And they meet once a month. So that is one possibility for math PD. But it has to be very focused. You know, what are you having trouble with? What concepts, what math concepts? Because as you can tell, this today, how much time it took to actually teach it conceptually.
I think for me, I'm thinking beneficial, what would be beneficial without looking at detailed data? I'm just looking at the manipulatives, and today, doing that simple problem of division, I mean, that took us a while just, and honestly, when I was in the classroom, I remember seeing the pattern blocks, and there were pictures, and they had the patterns in here, and we put the patterns in there, and that's how the kids did, I mean, that was a center. That's not what they were, I mean, do you see what I'm saying? If I was doing that many, many years ago, what are they doing with the pattern blocks now? How are they making it useful in math? So I would take, maybe if she had several activities with manipulatives and we were able to pull 2 from each grade level on a Friday, and then maybe she did it the same.
How many, so that would be 10 just from your, she doesn't wanna do any more than about 25 in a group.
Okay, well then maybe we would only I don't know how we could work it out, but I'm just thinking,
Well, so you're thinking if she would come 1 month and do half of your group, and then the other month do the other half?
but it may have to only be 1 if we're all sending people to, our training center. If we all send.
Or some in the morning, some in the afternoon, so it chunks it up. So
Well,
it's
quite
one day.
frankly, I would be expecting your mixed teachers to go back and do some PD. I would have that expectation if they were my teachers. They're learning just like you did today. And and quite frankly, if I know I'm gonna have to go back and teach it, I'm gonna really pay good attention to, some of the strategies,
Well,
et cetera.
I mean, I think they would do well with maybe the upper grades, but I don't know so much on a younger scale.
What does that mean?
Kinder 1, 2.
What, your teachers?
Yeah.
Why?
You can be honest here, but what state, what happens in mixed
Because I just don't
Because
feel like they
buy-in,
can,
capacity,
I just don't think they can break it down to that level, like, and present it to a 5-year-old. The way sometimes they talk is up here.
On the talk, it's very abstract. People
Yeah,
watch that.
and so,
and so that means they're really the ones who need it the most. In K2.
Okay.
so.
Okay, but you said not them, so repeat
Well,
what
I'm
you were
not saying,
saying.
I'm just saying, I'm trying not to talk about people, so,
So your younger
So-
grades are not as strong in the.
I have maybe 1 or 2,
But that's the norm, Jamie.
but,
I mean, what you're talking about is the norm.
I know, but I don't think that they would feel comfortable, like their personality type, I don't think they're gonna be comfortable coming in and teaching and saying, this is the way you need to do it. So I'm not saying that they're not.
Teaching?
Your mixed
Yeah.
The
teachers.
mixed teachers, which the mixed teachers don't
Oh, I
have
see what you're saying.
the
Okay, that
knowledge
was
yet
not
to
what I
come back
meant.
and teach that.
That was not what I meant.
Okay.
I must have had sloppy or imprecise.
Okay, well, I'm confused then.
Sloppy language, oh my god.
It's everywhere. No, what I meant was, I mean, you've got 5th grade teachers coming in and you're 2 and you've got 5, so they should be going back to their 5th grade colleagues. and sharing what they learn. That's what I meant.
Yeah, and I think mine could come back and do a good job with the upper grades, but I'm talking about the younger ones.
Okay.
So.
I don't know how.
You need somebody who's focused more on the younger kids.
Yes.
And I think that they'll do better from somebody that's outside of the school.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me,
Them
let
who
me,
has
And
that
if the kids are
expertise
learning
with those lower
the
kids.
concrete
Yeah.
pictorial solidly by the time they get to the intermediate grades, then
Yeah,
it
that'd be
becomes
even better.
the new ESSA or ESSA, whatever you're gonna call it, ESSA funds, ours are going away. They're coming to the school district level this coming year. And I've been watching TEA grants and forwarding one in particular to Mark. But Texas is kind of behind. They haven't really, as far as I can find, a plan for how they're gonna do it. But all these monies are gonna go down through TEA to the school districts. And there you have, if I read the chart right, $131,000 in professional development monies this next year. And I don't know if the district has to write a grant form, if they have to apply for them, or what the deal is. But I will continue to look for that for you. I mean, I don't get any of that money, but,
Right.
you know, you can use it to, and certainly hire Browning to come in and do something
I
like
think
that.
the language has it as a grant.
Pardon?
The language has it as a grant, but I don't know if it's a grant that is just bestowed or applied. And I don't know if it's one of those that you apply for and you get because you know what I mean, but the
I know,
language has it as a
I
grant, which
can't,
is nice.
and in fact, I have had a call into the TEA Title II guy for over a week now, and he's emailed me, but he hasn't called me back to explain it, so I'm not sure we really know, but, just file that in the back of your mind about that possibility of having PD money for that.
The other thing that I would like to do, or to get some information on, maybe from you guys or some guidance, is we were told a couple of weeks ago that we would all, at every campus, have to have an extracurricular activity that dealt with STEM. So either you have
Whatever that is.
and we get to choose, like I think Plum Creek does robotics, I think
Yeah.
another campus did Legos. I don't know, I just like some ideas of, I don't wanna just have a club to have a club, I want it to be purposeful. And, I mean, I think
that
it,
has to come from your teachers.
okay.
Yeah, we
That's
have
what
a
I
really
said
good-
earlier, I ended that last slide deliberately about the teacher driven, the teacher doing this, because that's what the success is gonna be dependent on. It's like Lickert doing your robotics, she applied for the grant for those materials, and, you know, that's how that's
I
done.
see like that, okay.
And I think our Lego Club is run by, did Amanda Solis do the Mix It Up?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's the one doing our Lego, I mean, so it's funny that we hear these extracurriculars and they're mixed teachers, right, so
Yes.
it all goes hand in hand, yeah.
So,
And she got another grant last year and this year for
Mhm,
her.
mhm. And it's kind of interesting too, cause Ruby's research is on teacher leadership. And so we've been kind of following our teachers to see, where they're moving to in different areas, you know, whether it's at their grade level or the school level or, you know, beyond that. And how can we enable them to have that confidence? A lot of it's confidence. You know, how can we build that confidence in them? And a lot of them have said that because they feel confident, because they know best practices, that they feel more confident in doing the kind of things that they are doing in the leadership. So I would say that might be something you'd think about with your teachers, is showing you have confidence in them and encouraging them to do those. But the problem is, if you're talking about extracurricular, that's just more work for the teachers. They don't get any more money for it, it's just more work, it's gonna take away from their classroom. Is there some way that you can think about using volunteers, so, that would be like master naturalists, or master gardeners, or, you know, people like that that are already in your community that can take on some of that leadership, and that it's not so much more work for teachers.
Ask a question, make a suggestion.
think for me,
We didn't have any.
I'm gonna need help. It kind of goes with that math side too. It's because I might just have 3 math. I have 2 for sure, but I might have 3 math spots that I need to hire for, and then to be able to support those teachers. So they're not gonna be able to get. I'm not gonna be able to hire them for next week. So providing them, support. Because I have a feeling it's gonna be brand new teachers.
Likely.
Likely, okay,
So
that's a big one.
and just because I think this is great. I'm so excited to be here, and
Well, you have Tim, who is a great colleague, knows the math, knows the pedagogy, and has that personality that, he's gonna.
And Melissa too, who knows science and math like nobody's business. So that's two, but but they're gonna be doing their thing, so.
I would say, get them to come to some of the Saturday ones. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
gonna probably learn a lot of content, cause we did most of that in the summer.
Yeah,
But it will build relationships.
yeah, for sure.
What if you also, when you get them hired, what if you figure out some space where they are close to Melissa and Tim, so that they can do a lot of, you would call it technically co-teach, but what they would do is they would be in there doing the teacher's aid stuff versus, assisting students, but watching. And so that they get their main instruction from, they get the big group instruction from the experts, and then they get to support. Then they plan together, and basically, it's a little bit like student teaching, but not really. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cause they're gonna have to, they have to see it. They have to go through the concrete pictorial abstract.
But they're not gonna see Tim, cause Tim's not gonna be doing the math.
No.
Now, Jen has moved more in that direction.
She's one of the ones